Hey everyone, welcome back to the Love and Marriage podcast on the Hotep Jesus YouTube channel. I am your co-host, Wendy O, and this is Hotep Jesus. If you don't know who Hotep Jesus is, better ask somebody.
Better ask somebody,
You
damn it.
you better ask somebody. I feel a little bit rowdy today.
Oh, I love that. I love when Wendy's O's in that rowdy mood. That's what I love.
Ooh, I was going off on people today. I was going off on people yesterday. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling empowered. But how are you doing? How's baby moms?
Baby Moms is good. Fiance now.
Oh, yes.
yeah, yeah. I had to go on spring. Throw a little change on the finger. You know what I mean?
I love to hear. Okay. So how'd you do it?
I had the kids surprise her blindfolded and bring her downstairs, and I just pitched.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so happy for you guys. That is like, did one of the kids film it?
My daughter filmed it.
I love to see that. That's like,
Yeah.
isn't it just a beautiful thing?
It is. It is. She's happy. She's got smiles on her face, and now she can't say shit. That means she can't say shit because all I gotta do is say, "Look at your finger, motherfucker." I don't want to hear shit.
She's gonna be like, she's gonna be happy like this. Like, oh, she's gonna be like, oh, did I draw? She'll be like, oh, the sun is shining. Something is in my eye.
Yeah, she got a couple of rocks on that thing, so yeah, she's happy.
Good. That's exciting. There's like a famous thing on TikTok where the woman's cooking and the man's like, "Oh, you're gonna make me something?" And she's like, "Am I your wife?" And he's like, "No, you know I didn't ask you to marry me." She's like, "Okay, well go cook for yourself."
Yeah, can't do that no more.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I'm hyped for you guys.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, good news. We have a new streaming layout. So shit looks all a little pretty over here now. I got my sponsors right here. So if you guys want to get in tune with all my companies, I put all their logos right there, and I'll be updating as I get more logos and more companies. But those links can be accessed in the description box below. Yeah, just slight upgrades, and don't forget to subscribe. This is your first time. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. But yeah, just trying to upgrade the brand. 2020 is all about upgrading the brand, and I've got some really great content coming. We got some great content scheduled for 2021. So if it's got a far out date, we're working on some shit. So that's gonna be fucking hilarious and funny viral content. I got some other viral content I'm working on this Saturday plotting. Then I got some other viral content I'm working on with my startup Wazo AI because we got an investors putting up 100K. If there's
Congrats.
anybody who wants to, thank you. If there's anybody who wants to join the funding round for Wazo AI, now is the time to get in on investing in these companies. We take a minimum investment. Wazo's taking a minimum investment of 10K. Coinbase is taking a minimum investment of 25K, and Jivitas is taking a minimum investment of 5K. So if anybody wants to, help fund or invest in these companies, you can do so. We're probably going to do those with simple agreements for future equity. Anybody familiar with safe agreements? That's probably how we're going to do your paperwork, unless you suggest otherwise. But yeah, we're just upgrading the brand little by little. I figured out what works organically. Now it's time to take it to phase two of the brand.
I love it. I'm doing that as well on my own. So I've started to upgrade some of my logo or my thumbnails on YouTube. And then my buddy that I came up with, his crypto YouTube channel, BitBoy. So if you guys are brand new to this channel, you guys want to know more about crypto, make sure to head over to BitBoy's YouTube channel. He does his production. Everything is like on point, but he's having me come on every Friday to do a little 2 to 3 minute technical analysis segment. He's got 100,000 subscribers. So that's helping my channel grow. And I'm probably going to hire an editor and stuff. So that's what it's about. It's about growing the brand, bringing that money home, and just working it.
And then reinvest it, right?
Hmm.
The money comes in, and you got to dump it right back into the brand and just keep making the brand better, man. Hell yeah, I love it. I love it. Your channel is amazing. I love your content. It's very well curated, very well targeted. When people ask me about crypto, there's only two people I name. I say you and Crypto Blood because that's the homie, But
Yeah,
I really
appreciate
love
it.
what you're doing. Thank you for some of the contacts that you're creating for me. Tomorrow, me and Wendy are both keynote speakers at the Swerge Network. No, Friday. Swerge Network is based out of Africa, right?
Yes, sir.
Based out of Africa, and it's going to be a blockchain cryptocurrency conference where people are going to be talking about all their different types of projects. And Wendy O was kind enough to recommend me. And so we're both keynote speakers. A lot of good stuff going. 2020 been good to
Yeah.
us.
It has. It's been good to us, and I'm hype about it because it's my homeboy Keith. He reached out to me when he was first coming up because I've done over 4 dozen free events for crypto, and it's always been I've never discriminated. I've never said, oh, you can't come because you're a maximalist or this or that or whatever. I've always included everybody because it's always important for me to open it up and make everybody feel wanted and welcome. Because at the end of the day, if there's not people adopting, then it's not going to go anywhere. So he reached out to me. He wanted to give back to the community in Africa, and I was like hyped for him because I know Africa has a huge use case for not only blockchain technology, but for cryptocurrency, just because it's kind of wild out in Africa, especially in some of these tiny villages. And basically all you need is a smartphone to utilize Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrency you want and pay people. And it's improving the quality of life for a lot of people. And that's what he's about, and educating. So I will help. If you guys have an idea you want to pitch to me and it's nothing crazy, I will help you to the best of my ability.
Yeah, she's not lying. She's helped me so much. Made so many contacts. I'm in touch with Peter. Peter's working on some paperwork. I'm trying to start a fund. Peter's helping me out with that. I actually owe him a few text messages back. I just been super busy, as you can see, like doing all this and whatnot. But yeah, Wendy O is MVP of 2020. Let me just tell you.
Yeah. So, kind of segueing into crypto, just a tiny bit. What about McAfee? Did you see
So
what happened to it?
I went into the Hotep chat today, and all I saw was some, chatter about McAfee, and I'm like, wait, what's going on? Wait, because it's over his ghost
Mm-hmm.
cryptocurrency slash token slash anonymous SIM card, right?
And the exchange too. Everything.
And the exchange. Wow, I didn't know about that. Okay.
It's
So
everything.
I didn't get my ghost card yet because I've been slipping. And 2 days ago, I told Wendy O this. 2 days ago, literally, I said, damn, I got to call John. I need my ghost chip so I can put it in the safe for emergency purposes, right? And then I see all this stuff going on. I'm like, wait, what's going on? I ain't get my chip yet. So, Wendy O, what's going on? Fill me in.
So basically there was a disagreement, something happened, and it's still going to be his project, but they're getting rid of the ghost token and they are going to do their own thing. I don't know exactly too many details. But I know that John does have to have the ghost card, the ghost eSIM, because that's how he's able to kind of stay, under the radar. And he actually got arrested, I want to say in Bolivia or something like that last week, because he was walking around with Janice's thong on his face as a face mask.
Yeah. That was hilarious. He's such a troll.
So I don't know the specifics. I'm hoping that there's going to be some sort of clarity that will come. But
Yeah.
I know that they have to keep the e card coming. And then I also saw a lawsuit about, I think Intel is going to sue John for the technology surrounding the Ghost eSIM. So there's an article floating around somewhere. I have it saved, and I'm going to speak on it tomorrow on my show, because I'm just like, how are they going to come after McAfee and sue McAfee? Like,
Yeah. What the hell?
so I will keep you updated on that. But I'm sure once things cool down a bit, just drop Janice a line and be like, "Hey, can I get this?" And she will be more than happy to help you out.
All right. Yeah, I need that so bad. For emergency purposes. You just never know. You never know.
You never know.
Especially now with like the forced vaccinations coming and all
Ooh,
of that.
nope, I'm not getting it. Not happening.
I don't blame you. I do
I don't.
not blame.
Because it's like, honestly, Bill Gates, didn't he step down from Microsoft this year? There was like 10 or 20 CEOs that stepped down from being the CEO role. And to me, that's too coincidental. I mean, the numbers don't add up. And with this CV going on, and then you have somebody who's not a trained physician that's coming in trying to dictate to people, that's into population control, that's into Planned Parenthood. That's a little worrisome to me. So I'm not interested in getting the vaccine. I never got the CV. I don't think it's necessary to get it, but I'm not getting it.
Yeah. So I think this is a very important issue as we talk about relationships and family, right? Because first of all, they're starting to force vaccinations. They're saying with the children, right? So this is just like, you can't go to school or you can't go to work. I saw it in Michigan. I want to say Massachusetts, and I think somewhere in California, right? So I put the tweet out. I tagged Cernovich because he's like, one of the most popular attorneys on Twitter, and I said, "Yo, like, it's time to create a legal board just for this issue
Hmm.
alone. This is a very serious issue, and I think it's time for us to get serious about this. And we're going to have to crowdsource our attorneys, and we may have to crowdfund to pay these people to do the work, and create some sort of committee, some sort of board that is going to fight for our rights, to fight against the forced vaccination that's coming. The funny thing about this is, earlier on this year, I spoke to Sister Samaya and her friend, and I brought them on my channel. We spoke about the fact that New Jersey was passing legislation that was removing religious exemption, saying that if you want to take your kids to school, they must be vaccinated, and you cannot exempt yourself from the vaccination based upon religious reasons. So it's not exactly my body, my choice. And it's funny that came, we were talking about that. We were fighting this battle here in New Jersey. And then what happens? COVID hits. And it's just like, and now the vaccine is this big talk, right? So all of this is ironic, you know. But we'll see. That's my plan though. I want to create this legal board and fight.
I'm down. I will do whatever I can in my power to help. But I just, this is the thing. If there was, if people were dropping like the bubonic plague or dropping like the black plague or whatever, then okay, I'm going to get, or maybe even polio, because my aunt had polio. She still has some sort of issues. It caused, all kinds of things. So that type of stuff, okay. I can see, but when you're talking about something that is not impacting as many people as the flu, and they can't even get the tests correct. When I worked in HIV/AIDS, it took them like 10 years to get a 10-minute test to come out to get the results to be accurate, and then after that, it took another 5 years to get the 1-minute test to where it was accurate. And now the tests aren't even accurate, and that's a problem with me. And I don't want to put things in my body that I don't know what it is. Like I won't even eat McDonald's. I won't even eat Burger King. I know we're joking about that on the show last time, but I don't want to put something in my body, especially my child. To me, if giving that to your child, especially with something that's so new, that's essentially child abuse.
It is. It definitely is. It definitely falls under the realm of child abuse. I can't argue that.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable. It's a and then the drama it's going to cause within the families too, because you're going to have, for example, this is just a scenario that popped in my head, but you're going to have, let's say you have a mom that's at home with the kids, the parents are split up, the dad's in another household, and the dad's not comfortable with the mom giving the kids the vaccinations, but the mom is like, "Hey, I need the kids to go back to school because, I have to work and whatever." So it's going to put pressure on the single mom. Well, I don't even like to use the term single mom, but it's going to put pressure on this mom to want to give the kids a vaccination because she needs some reprieve. Because let me tell you, these moms that are let me just say parents. Let's just make it clear: when there is a single parent in the household that has to work, that's got these kids, it is causing extreme stress on the kids. It's causing extreme stress on the parents. My boxing trainer, Miss Nita, she was saying, because she's a family therapist, she was saying that she's setting up one day a week. I think it's Wednesday nights now, that she's going to set this up to where a group up to where you pay like $10 or whatever to come in. And it's just a bunch of single moms, and they're just going to come and like scream and just let it out because they're so freaking stressed out at home because the schools aren't open. And I got into it today with one of the ladies at the training for the domestic violence training that I'm doing, the crisis work. And I was kind of saying that, I was saying it's almost like schools are kind of like childcare because they kind of get funding for that. And she got really upset. And I was like, I said, I'm not discounting what you guys do because you guys are amazing. I appreciate teachers. But at the end of the day, people, there's young pregnancies, people are getting pregnant, they're having kids, both parents have to work, and they're essentially relying on the schools to take their kids. And she was like offended that I said that, but that's reality. And you can't do the Zoom. You can't, it just is not working. It's not.
So true. So true. My heart goes out to the moms, all the moms out there. Shout out to you. Moms are very important. Um, and I think we need to back them and do a good job of supporting all the moms out there, single or not single.
I agree. So this kind of segues me into my discussion that we learned. We went over systematic racism at the training for domestic violence, and I'll just touch on this a little bit because I was really upset afterwards. But basically, they told me that reverse racism is not real. that it's not a real
Wait,
thing.
wait, wait. What's reverse racism?
Reverse racism is basically when a white, because I'm going to use the term white and POC because those are the exact terms they use, and I'll explain why I use them in a second. But basically, it's when a white person says that a POC is being racist against them or treating them differently because of the color of their skin. They're saying that reverse racism is not real.
That black people being racist towards white people.
Yeah, that doesn't have. It's not real.
Okay. All right. Continue.
So I'm the only white girl in there. Well, me and the one of the counselors, and we watched a video on they did a study. Well, they just did this little activity with something on YouTube. It was basically about 100 different people, all different. Actually, there wasn't any Asians there, which I thought it was real interesting. They made sure to use Latinos with darker skin and African American black people with darker skin, and then a bunch of white people with like blonde hair, blue eyes. So I'm like, okay. So they put them in a line and they said, we're going to put $100 at the end of this finish line. But before we do that, we want to teach you about racism and systematic
Oh
racism.
yeah, I saw that.
So they say, did you grow up in a household with two parents? Did you grow up
Take
with
a
a
step
dad?
back.
Yeah. So they did that, and I'm watching and I'm like, okay, like this is really sad because I see these kids in the front and you could tell they're just like, it's very traumatic for them. I get it because I could have taken a step forward for like one of the things that they said. So I would have
Mm,
been in the back with the POCs.
mm,
So I was just like, whatever. But they basically said that there's no racism against white people, that all white
mhm.
people have privilege and that they need to recognize their privilege. And even though if they were grew up in a household with no father, if they grew up with divorced parents, if they grew up with sexual abuse, violence, any of that stuff, and I'm a survivor of some of those things, but basically that white people still have privilege and that they need to recognize that privilege and see how they can help POCs.
I agree and disagree.
Okay,
There's a lot of nuance when it comes to this conversation. Remind me to
I
give
agree.
you my definition of racism. Now, the fa- the fact that white people are the majority is the advantage that they have. I wouldn't call it a privilege. I would say it's more of an advantage because they are the majority, and wherever you are as a majority. For example, Thaddeus Russell grew up in the hood. He ain't had no white privilege in the hood. You know, he was getting his ass whooped by black people. So there was black privilege, right? And I'm sure he faced some of that from the teachers as well. Um, I say if you're white in America and you're struggling, like you're just pitiful, right? I think and I think a lot of it is self-inflicted, right? So they'll have like a pink mohawk and like tattoos on their face,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
So like
100%.
like you do it to yourself, right? Like
Mhm.
clean up, get your hair cut right, da 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 da. You can say all of that stuff, but you can also say that for a black person, right? Like clean your act up, look a certain way, don't get tattoos on your face, right? But as someone who's been in corporate America and has worked with dozens and dozens of people in the offices that were white, I see a clear difference in how I was treated compared to other
Mhm.
people.
Right.
And it's not necessarily like, look at that nigger, it's more like, does that nigga know how to use a mouse? Does that nigga, it's like the racism of low expectations,
Mhm.
right? Like, do you need me to explain this to you? No, bitch, I know what the fuck I'm doing, right? Or just like I said, it's just really just the low expectation thing, right?
Right.
That they treat you almost like you're handicapped.
Mhm.
That is the primary problem I see outside of, some of the more racially affected things like you're more likely to get fired, more likely to get in trouble, more likely to, all these different things. Um, but corporate America is filled with politics and there's different ways to navigate that. Um, Now let's go to what I believe is the definition of racism. Um, Two definitions. Just like a dictionary, you'll have one and then you'll have the second and so on and so forth. So for me, there are two definitions of racism. One is the primary, one is secondary. The first one is when an individual or group makes decisions based upon race. I call that racism because you're making your decisions based upon race. Two is to oppress another group based upon race, right? And this is the people think that number two is the primary definition of racism. So people always say white black people can't be racist, right? And they mean it based upon definition number two, basically saying we don't have any power in this country, white people do. And in many ways, that's true. What we have is unrealized power. We have power, we just haven't realized it. We waste our power, right? And we see that with the WAP video, right? This is what we choose to do with our power is, WAP and give our money to Louis Vuitton, Moet, and Hennessy. Black people have power, we just don't use it. Everybody else uses our power. So that's my definition of racism. So if you ask me and say, can black people be racist? Based upon definition number one, the answer is yes. We do make decisions based upon race. I often make decisions based upon race. I'm racist. I say that all the time. I'm racist. That doesn't mean I hate Wendy O because she's Jewish or I hate Wendy O because she's half Italian. I don't operate like that. I operate based upon the individual, but I still have sympathy and empathy for the black community. Therefore, I'm more likely to go above and beyond for a young black kid. That doesn't mean I'm not helping young white kids because I help young white kids a lot. But the black kid, I'm kind of like got a soft spot for. You see what I'm saying? It's not like
you got to take care of your own. And I get that. I respect that. But in this particular instance, why it upset me so bad is because we're talking about victims of domestic violence, and that encompasses a whole spectrum. And when you are going to say that because this white girl got beat, she still has privilege because she's white, over opposed to a Hispanic woman that got beat. That's like, I kind of disagree with, because I don't think that that's fair, because there's abuse that happens in every single culture possible, but catering to the POC for that got the abuse and not the white person that got the abuse, I don't necessarily think that that's fair. And I think that's doing a disservice to your mission of preventing domestic violence and helping those that are living with domestic violence, because no matter what the situation is, if group one got their ass whooped and group two got their ass whooped, they both need care and they both need help. Like, why are you discounting one person and not the other person? Like, you should kind of hold both of them put them up on the same pedestal and help them to get out of that. Because at the end of the day, especially if there's kids around, that mentality is going to be passed down to their kids, and it's going to perpetuate that type of negativity and that type of lifestyle, regardless if they're black or Asian or white or whatever it is.
But what is their angle? If one woman is POC and one woman is white, and they're both victims of domestic violence, where did the white privilege enter the conversation? How did they?
Because they wanted to train us to let us know that there's white privilege, and that's really what we talked about. And I was
wait. This is during your training.
This is during the training, and that's why I was so pissed. That's why I was so mad.
Wait. Your training. You talked about this last week or the week before, I believe, and you said you're going to go in and you're helping people that are victims of domestic violence.
Yes.
Now, in this meeting, they said to you that white women have a privilege.
Yes, that white women have a privilege over a POC that are getting abused. Basically, that's what
Why is that relevant?
Because to be honest, I don't know. I was so upset.
They just threw that in the conversation.
Yes, and that's why I was mad, because I'm like, I am here because we have to do 40 hours of this training, and we have to learn about racism and which I know about all that stuff because, I'm married, whatever. I know about this stuff because I worked in the HIV/AIDS community for 7 years, so I get racism, I get discrimination, right. I get all that type of stuff. Like, my clients were a mix of all different types of people, so I get it. But the fact that they were like making it all about the POC and making it that white people always have privilege and they always have an up about it. Like, I went and I talked to my mom about it today, and I was really, really upset. My mom was livid because my mom said, she goes, up until the 70s, Italians were heavily discriminated against. And she's like, you want to know something? She's like, when I was in school, because I was considered white, because my mom was in the transition period when Italians were started, instead of calling them Italians and marking that on the job applications or whatever, they removed it and they just put the white there. So my mom was saying that when she went to go apply for college, she wasn't eligible for scholarships because she classified as a white person, not as an Italian. When her grandfather came over, he had to mark that he was dark skinned or brown or whatever it was, and he was treated very, very poorly. And so were my grandma and my great aunt. My grandma used to get beat in school because she had an accent. But this was
Mm.
brought up in the thing, and I was like livid. I was like, okay, and I told them, I was like, my dad died when I was young, my parents were divorced. Like, I told them my whole thing. I didn't talk too much about some of the abuse that I lived and I survived, but I was basically, saying, I was like, I said, maybe the only type of privilege you think that I had was maybe I didn't get my ass whooped by the police. I says, but I still had the statistical background that I come from. Women that grew up with a father that passed away, if you look at the statistics, they don't do well in life. It's very hard for them to do well and to do good things. I was just really upset over it. I was like, this is not okay.
That's wild, yo. Like I can't even see how they drew a relevance. It's like the liberal politics have taken over every part of our life, even the places where it means nothing. Like we're talking about women under duress, women who need help.
Or even men that are under duress, children that are under duress, and it's not really fair to say to a white child and a Hispanic child. And the reason why I'm going to use Hispanic more is because my husband's Hispanic. But it's not fair to pick and choose what child had it worse because of the color of their skin. And then I even said, I says, well, my husband, and then, you know what they also said? They said, well, just because you married somebody that's a POC or you have a child that is a POC, you still have more privilege and you wouldn't understand about their struggle. And I'm with my husband when we go to fancy restaurants where it's all white people and they're looking at us a little sideways because he's got some tattoos and he's darker skin. And I'm like, so how do I not understand his struggle? How do I not understand his pain that he's going through?
Yo, oh my God. And that's racism. That is racism, right? And this it's the and like I said before, it's the low expectations. Like all black people got it bad. You know how many streams I do where I talk to people who are white and they're like, yo, I grew up poor. And I'm like, yo, I can't relate. I grew up upper middle class. Like I had everything I wanted. I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. And it's like I talk to white people and they didn't grow up like that. So don't sit up here and tell me that black people always got it hard because I had it easy, except for my dad. Like my dad, he was ex-military, so he was hard on me, right?
Right.
And I'm thankful for that, right? But like, like that's what I'm saying. Like you can't sit up here and say all black people got it bad because some of us got it better than white people. When I go to Delaware, you ever see how some of the white people live in Delaware, yo? Oh, they live in bad, yo. It's like, matter of fact, I joke around with Shorty. I'm like, yo, you want to ride through the trailer park? She's like, I don't want to go down there.
No, no, but I was really upset after, and I was telling my dude, and he was just like upset. And then I told him, I was like, what about my child? Because my child, she's technically a POC, but she's got white skin. So that makes it like, what happens with her? And they're like, oh, well, because she has white skin. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, and then one of the ladies, she's like, I'm half white and I'm half Latino, but I identify as a POC because I married a man that was from Guatemala and my kids are mostly Hispanic. So I have to identify as a POC, even though my dad is really white and he doesn't understand why I do that. And I says, well, I understand why you do that is because you got the kids. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I was just,
Rich black people get their ass beat too. Megan Thee Stallion was a victim of domestic violence after she got shot in her foot. So you don't got to be broke to be a victim of domestic violence. I don't know why they're even. I'm sure they over-index. Lower class people over-index for domestic violence, but it doesn't mean just because you're poor you're going to deal with domestic violence. White rich people beat their wives all the time.
yeah, I mean, it is important. I mean, in the training and when you're talking to people that are victims, it is important to maybe understand their culture. But at the same time, if I'm answering phones and I can't tell what race you are, why do
Yeah.
why do I need to know? Like, why do I need to be like like, should I be like, oh, well, what race are you? Like when I'm talking, like after they're on the phone screaming and crying because their husband's whooping their ass, like, oh, are you black? Okay, so I understand that their slavery was a thing, and I'm so sorry that slavery was a thing, and then not even worry that their husband is like, like
This
I
is
just
just
I just want to help. That's all I want to do is I want to help. I want to get these whoever's
well,
suffering from this. I want to get them safe. I want to help their kids. I don't like I understand that there was racism and there's things that have happened, but at the same time, I'm third generation. My family did not own slaves. My family was not racist towards other people. They came here for a better life. And
yeah,
my grandpa on my mother's side, he worked on the freaking railroads with all the other POCs. Like
right.
he didn't have a good job. So it's like, come on, come on.
But here's another thing, right? They are so racist that they believe you can identify somebody's race over the phone, right? Now, I was listening to something the other day. My shorty was playing something on Facebook, and she said, "Guess that race." I was like, "Oh, it's a black girl." She's like, "Nope." I was like, "What?" She's like, "Nope, that's a white girl we went to high school with." I'm like, "Yo, she sound black as hell," right? So vernacular, your dialect is very much regional. It's based upon your environment.
Mm-hmm.
So Eminem might sound black to some people over the phone, like it depends on how you grew up. You grab some of these black conservatives out here and you get them on the phone, it's gonna sound like a white man. You know what I mean? Like, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why I say, like, these people, these white liberals that talk about this stuff are themselves the actual racists because all they're doing is reinforcing stereotypes.
Exactly. So that was my day. I'm fine now, but I was like, it didn't need to be a whole day of that. It should have been like a packet where we can kind of learn about somebody else's, some cultural stuff and maybe how to apply that. But at the same time, we're just really supposed to listen to them. And why is sitting and listening to them, why do we need to know what race they are? Why can't we just help them? Because they said that not respecting the fact that they're black or that they're Mexican or Asian, then that's wrong, and we need to be able to respect that fact. And I get that, but at the same time, if they're getting their ass whooped, I remember I was in an abusive relationship before, prior to I was married. I was getting my ass whooped. All I wanted to get was like refuge and shelter or whatever. I didn't care about who was giving me shelter. I just needed to get, I wanted to get help. So
Right.
why does that stuff matter? Anyways.
So real quick before we go to the next topic, I just want to touch on this reverse racism thing. Shout out to Pete's in the chat. Um, he said reverse racism is just racism, and I agree. Right? When I first heard the word reverse racism, I was like, yeah, I hate reverse racism because what I thought that meant is black people hating on black people. Right? For example, when I go to the store and the cashier or whoever it is in retail is a black person, I don't get respected like a white person does. And this is a black employee. And I'm like, I want the same service you would give the white man or woman if they walked into Macy's. You see me walk up and you like, hey nigga, what's up? What you need? And I'm like, no, like don't talk to me like I'm your homie. I'm not your homie. I hate that. And I deal with more racism. That's to me, that's reverse racism. I get worse service from black people when I go out than I do white people. Matter of fact, my favorite person in there that serves us is a Moss. She's middle-aged white woman, and she gives the best service. I love her. When we walk in, she knows what we want. She knows what we want to drink, and she's cordial. And I always tip over 20% for her. I always tip 20% period, but for her, I a little bit over 20%. And I get better service from her than I have. And I'm gonna say, I haven't gotten great service from black people. I have gotten great service from black people. I can't say that. But there's been many times where I'm stereotyped by my own people and they're like, why you like their attitude is like, why are you asking me for help? It's like, bitch, you work here. Like, why are you giving me an attitude? But if I came up and I was Chad with the blonde hair, you'd be worried you lose your job. But because I'm black and I look like you, when you think I'm from the same hood, you want to treat me like like nah. So that's what I thought reverse racism meant. I didn't know it meant, white people hate black people. Racism is racism no matter who does it.
Yeah, but basically they said the long and the short of it was that reverse racism is not real, and POCs are not racist against white people because white people have privilege, and it always sets, no matter what happens to them, they always have a head start in life.
POC are more racist than white people. I'll say that one more time. POC are more racist than white people. The other day they had, I believe, a dude somewhere in Asia was walking on the backs of black people.
I saw
Um,
that.
yeah,
I was like,
you go to
I had to double check. I was like, I think you posted it, and I was like, I'm gonna stay away from this. I don't know what is going on. I don't know why this is going on. I'm out. I'm gone.
yeah, I mean, go look at Argentina right now. To me, I would consider Argentinians white, but and they consider themselves white. But you see more ethnic cleansing in the Arab world, South American world, and Asian world. In fact, I have friends who live in Japan, who live in Korea, who live in China, black friends, who said they've experienced more racism in these Asian countries than they have in America. Because these racist Asians come, they tell you, look, this is Asian only. You can't come in here. It's Asian only. Like that's normal to be Asian only. So it's just like this the whole thing about white people being racist. It's like, all right, maybe white people are racist sometimes, but I think everybody racist,
Hmm.
myself included. We all got a little bit of racist in us, and I think once we can start to be honest about that, it's great. But to say just white people are racist, erases so much racism across the globe. It's not even funny. It's not even. I mean, the Arabs literally have black people as slaves right now in Libya. Literally, literal slaves. You can go watch videos of people beating their servants, their black servants in the Arab world right now. They're living in like 1810 in some of these places with their culture and how they treat Africans. It's just like I would trade. I would take this whatever racism they claim is right now. I'd take it any day over what some people experience in other
Me
places.
too. It's just the world is crazy, but I had to get that out because I was just so mad about it because I was
That's ridiculous.
like the way that I grew up and the stuff that I endured, some of it was self-inflicted. I did put myself in bad spots, but like losing my dad, I didn't have control over that. And the fact that you're telling me that if a person of color was to lose their dad, that I would still have the upper hand. Like you don't know how it impacted me mentally. You have no idea what it did to me and my sisters. So for them to say that, I was just like put off. But at the end of the day, I'm doing this not for to argue with them. I know I pissed them off today, but
Did you speak up?
oh yes, I spoke up.
What did you say?
I kind of what I said to you, but in a nicer way that, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me. And the only kind of privilege that I maybe had was that I didn't get my ass whooped by police when I got pulled over. But other than that, no one helped me out or no one did anything for me. And I'm considered white by everybody, but I don't really consider myself white because I'm Sicilian and my father's Jewish. They came from freaking Romania to Canada as an orphan, came here, fought in the war because he was freaking Jewish. And I said both my grandparents were like brown is all brown.
So what did they say?
They're like, "Oh, thank you for sharing."
Thank you for sharing your white privilege.
Pretty much, I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm just gonna shut the hell up, and I'm like in here, and I just had to turn my camera off, and I was like dicking around on Twitter because I was like, I said, it just this hurts me. Just hurts me because whatever. Anyways, enough about libtards. Enough about it. So we talked about that. So do you want to answer a question?
Yes.
So this is from I don't know if I'm going to say his name, but he had sent me a DM. If you post in the chat that you want me to say your name, I will. But he said that it was okay that we answered his question. He said, Wife and I live with her recently separated daughter and her 16th month baby. Her hubby lived with us too and is gone in the last month. I felt the need to step up as a man of the house for all three ladies, but her daughter is going through shit by mass dating guys going out almost every night while we watch the baby, comes home at 2 or 3 a.m. with multiple hickeys, says she sees sometimes 2 to 3 guys. I feel she's doing self-destructing behavior, knowing these fuckboys' mindset. I really get upset. I bite my tongue because my wife says it's none of our business. I see the baby's emotions and body language when she leaves, and it sucks. Wife says I need to detach myself, yet I still care, and I don't know how. We live in the same house. I see her marks, and my imagination goes to dark places.
All right, let me just verify this relationship really fast. How old is the child?
16 months.
Wow. Okay. And the girl is how old?
He didn't specify, but I would imagine she's probably in her mid 20s from the dialogue. That's what I would
Oh,
assume.
okay. And that's whose child? His or hers?
His wife's daughter.
His wife's daughter from a previous relationship. Okay. And so the obviously the girl is separated from her husband. I think we can guess why, right?
Yeah.
It seems like it's probably some promiscuity happening there.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I ain't dealing with this shit no more. I'm out. And I don't blame him, you know. Damn. Shit.
You want me to go? Because I got a
I
pretty.
think this is yours. This is your world.
So you have a kid. I don't give a fuck how old you are. You have a kid. You decide to have a child, especially the women. And I know that some of these people that are going to be listening, they're like, Wendy, why are you not putting responsibility on the men? Well, let me tell you why. First and foremost, when you have a child, when you decide to have a child, yes, the man is responsible too as a father. But let's face it, sometimes men are not always there. And I'm not saying all men. I'm saying that there are some cases where the man is not there. So as a woman, if you are going to have a child and not when you're married, whatever, it is your responsibility to care for that child. The way that the law works in the United States, it's your responsibility. And if you don't like what I have to say, that's just facts. There's no lie there. It's facts. So you have a 16-month-old child. I remember when that's like a year and a half. I didn't want to be away from my baby. That's like when I quit my job to be close to my baby. I understand that this young girl is probably a little frustrated because she's having issues with the man. The man, baby daddy's not there. That could suck. Your heart hurts. You just want to feel love. You want to feel need. Well, and that's nice that your mom and stepdad are watching the baby. But at the end of the day, your job is to be a mother, to take care of that child. Second, it is not your fucking house you're living in. You are living in the house of your parents. You're probably not paying rent. They're probably letting you stay there for free. Regardless if you're paying rent or not, you are still at mom and dad's house. Even if that stepdad is not your dad, you're still in the house. There is always a certain amount of respect that is required to both parents for allowing you to live there. Because if you don't respect them, they can toss you on the ass with the child. They have no responsibility to you. It is your baby, your responsibility. The fact that they're watching the baby while she goes out, that's fine. But the fact that she's going out like every night, that's a problem. The mother needs to step up and say something. I know the mother's probably not necessarily want to say something because she don't want to be with their daughter. She wants to have like a happy family and stuff. But at the end of the day, the girl is out there hoeing and she needs to be a better mom. She wants to go out there and date. That's totally fine, but don't be coming home with hickeys. That's disgusting. Like your baby doesn't need to see that. Your parents don't need to see that. That's disrespecting your parents. And the fact that this stepdad is nice enough to love the baby and take the baby in as itself, my daughter does not have because my dad's dead. My daughter doesn't have a grandpa. So the fact that your mom found a good man to remarry and this man is stepping up and acting as a grandfather for the baby, show some respect. And if you want to go out and date, that's fine, but don't make it a nightly thing. You don't need to be out fucking around, fucking with your legs open, doing whatever. You need to be a good mom. If you want to go date, you want to go have some fun once in a while, that's good, but not every single night. You're doing a disservice to your baby. That's when your baby needs you the most, is during those times. So you need to calm down, stay home. And if you don't want to listen to your parents, what needs to happen, they need to have a family meeting and they need to say, this is making me feel uncomfortable. I don't like it. Maybe not even bring the hickeys up, but say, you need to be here for the baby more. We can't, or maybe we could watch the baby once a week at this time. There needs to be an open dialogue that needs to be said, and specify the rules. Maybe have her sign a contract. But if you don't do X, Y, and Z, you're gone with the baby. And that does sound harsh and that doesn't sound right. But at the end of the day, this girl is coming into the household. She's making everybody in the house feel uncomfortable because she's acting like a hoe. And it's hurting the child. It is hurting the child at the end of the day. So the parents need to step up and bring some rules. And if she's going to be disrespectful, then she's going to have to go find out the hard way.
Powerful. I would like to add on to that. You said everything that I couldn't say. So let me just say thank you. And you said it how I would have said it too. So thank you. um, let's start here. I don't want to involve the state, right? I don't want to involve the communists. I don't want to call child protective services. I just don't want to get the state involved, right? I think that people need to solve their problems on their own. Now, with that being said, we cannot be abusive. We cannot force this mother to do anything that she doesn't want. A hoe gonna be a hoe. So I think we have to allow her to be a hoe. That's one, right? But there's a way to be a hoe and still be a mom, right? Like being a mom comes first. Like you want to be a hoe, that's fine, but you have to be a mom first, right? So
Mhm.
one thing I'd love to know from the parents is she putting the child to sleep before she leaves? If she's leaving before the child is asleep, then she's breaking the good hoe mom rules. A good hoe mom makes sure the baby is tucked in, sleep, good, fed, and then I'm out, right? Fine. You want to go be a hoe? Cool. But you better be back before the baby wakes up, right? The baby should always see mama there. She should never have to watch mama leave, right? And mama come in at all types of weird hours, whether it's from a job or home or not. The baby needs to see mama, especially if they have just separated. So I think what this parent couple needs to do is they need to, and I would not phrase it and say there are some new rules in this house. As soon as you say rules to somebody who's unruly, they're just
Right.
like, all right, here's some shit I'm about to not do. You about to tell me everything I'm not gonna do. So
This is what we're not gonna do.
yeah. So instead, I would say, have a conversation, go out to dinner, maybe something like that, and somewhere where the baby maybe isn't around to hear, and have a discussion and say, hey, look, we're not here to tell you how to live your life. What we want to do is just make sure that you have a healthy life and that you have a child who looks at you like a queen, that thinks you are the most beautiful and great person in the world. And we never want them to want the child to think anything negative of you. And that's the only thing we want to do is make sure you preserve your image in this child's eyes and have that conversation with her. And then on the tail end of that conversation, make the suggestion and say, we think it would be healthy for the baby if you're going to leave the house. Make sure you tuck her in, put her to sleep first, right? And make sure you're back before the baby wakes up, and say it like that as a suggestion instead of like a rule, and play it that way. The other suggestion I'm going to make is start scheduling family activities.
Mhm.
Right, schedule a family activity that makes her sweat because nobody want to be licking on no sweaty hoe, right? and if she been jogging and did like a mile and a half, she might be too tired to go out hoeing, right? Sometimes you got to tire a hoe out. You ever tired a kid out?
Yes.
Sometimes you got to tire people out so they don't feel like going nowhere. So, I would say,
I got to interrupt you there. If she's a grown ass woman, why is it the parent? Why is it her parents' responsibility to tire her out? Her first and foremost priority is to be at home with the child. She can, and what, like, sit, go out to dinner, do what you're suggesting, but tell her, I can't watch the baby every night. I could watch the baby once a week or maybe twice a week, but every night. And it's like the parents should not have to go out of their way to tire this grown ass woman up. She needs to be with her baby. Like there's no to
well,
me.
well, well. First of all, the problem is the family is not bonded. If the family was bonded, she would have some respect, and that's why you need to have the activities because you have to create some family bond again. Because people don't disrespect people they have bonds with, right? Usually,
That's true.
also telling her what to do and what not. She's already unruly. We can tell how she's living her life that talking isn't going to do anything. You can't say, hey, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. It's just not going to work, Wendy. It's just not going to happen.
You're nicer than I am because my stepkids, when they come to the house, they know, do not play
Well,
with me.
they're kids. This is
They're
talking
not,
about
they're not kids. They're big.
how old?
So
Are
the
they Hispanic?
huh?
Are they Hispanic?
My husband's kids?
Yeah.
Well, he's part Hispanic, so the mom is Italian and white. She a little crazy. Um,
But those kids, I want to say that your husband's done a good job to instill some sort of respectful
oh yeah,
behavior in these kids, right? So what I'm saying is,
100%.
when you're dealing with somebody who's been taught to be respectful, and someone who hasn't, the approach is different. See,
True.
somebody who's been taught to be respectful, you can say, "Look, yo, you wildin', yo, fix that." But someone who's never been taught to be respectful, you got to change your tactics. Everything, the approach has to be different. You can even use the same approach with the kids that have respect, which is another story for another day. But what I'm saying is, the priority isn't the woman. The priority is the child. So you're not doing this for the woman, you're doing this for the child. And sometimes we have to sacrifice for children. We have to sacrifice our lives for the kids. I sacrifice all of my time for my kids. In fact, I'm not going anywhere during the soccer season. I'm not taking any flights. Nobody can pay me to leave. It was supposed to be a Black conservative event. I said, I can't make it because I'm going to be at every single game this year. I sacrifice my time for the kids. And I think that's what we have to look at here is, does this couple want to sacrifice their time for this 16-month-old? And if they do, then this is what they need to do. They need to schedule family activities and start bonding again and bringing the family close together and having discussions instead of uh, 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 a dictatorship. It's more like a committee, more like a family than it is, hey, you fucking up, do this. She fucking up. She knows she's fucking up. She knows what she's doing is not wrong. So telling somebody who already knows they're doing something wrong, that they're doing something wrong, ain't going to do nothing but agitate them.
Hmm.
What you want to do is you want to get through to them. And the only way to get through to people is to say, look, this child right here is going to grow up either loving you or hating you. And we want this child to love you. And we want this child to think you are the superhero in her life. And here's how we're going to do that. We're going to make sure this child loves you like you are the best thing ever. We're going to help you. And you got to do this out of love and not out of like, yo, you're being bad, right? And then you say, look, we'd love it if you didn't leave until the baby went to sleep and you were home by the time the baby woke up. If you do that, we have no problems. I think it's not even we have no problems. I think you have no problems with your child, right?
Right.
And that's the key.
See, I like that you balance me out because when I hear a child is being impacted, it bothers me. It bothers me a lot because
Yes.
but I like the solution that you gave to, okay, we're going to do family time or we're going to sit down, we're going to talk about it, like that type of stuff. And then if that don't work, then you try the approach, the,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
windy approach. But I get hyped, man, because it's like I get stuff happens. I get people have kids, things happen. But at the end of the day, it's like that baby is 16 months is so young, like super, super young. That baby needs you, like really, really needs you. Like,
Yeah. And somebody in the chat said this. It said it's a baby raising a baby. Right.
yeah, it's true.
And that's why I said you can't approach her like you would a thinking, respectful adult. You have to approach her as somebody who hasn't been made an adult yet. You have to approach her like a child, and children need love no matter what age they are. If you're still a child at 30, you need to be loved at 30 like a child until you become an adult. Then you can be loved like an adult. My initial reaction to this story was just like yours, right? The first thing I want to do is be like, yo, change the locks, change the door, take her keys, right? Like these are all the things you want to do. Tell her like, look, you're not going nowhere. And like, that's the first thing that came to my mind. And then I had to go into like this Hotep Jesus Zen like mode and like, what's the real solution here? Because that approach is the emotional approach,
That's
right?
true. I'm
Um,
emotional.
Right. And we all have that, right? Like that was like that first reaction I had was just like yours, but I had to recognize, okay, that is the emotional approach. What is the logical approach to all of this? And then as you talked, I was just kind of like thinking through this and I'm like, this is one fucked up situation. So I'm like, this is going to need to be handled with care. The more messed up your family situation is, the more it needs to be handled with care. And
That's true.
this, I think this family needs to go jogging together. They need to go on walks together. They need to do some picnics. They need to have family dinner at night, sit around the table. This family needs to pray together. They need to play, some tic-tac-toe, some Connect Four. I don't know. Go Google 100 family activities and sit down and pick some and do them with your family, and force the family to come together and have family time, games with the kid, bonding games with the kid, and that type of stuff. And what you'll see is she'll be too tired to go out sometimes. She's still going to be a hoe, right? But I think as that bond builds, she'll want to be home with the child more and more. But the child is 16 months. At 16 months, you also have to remember women go through postpartum, right? And we don't know, how
Hmm.
long this postpartum lasts. And we don't know, maybe she's going through postpartum. So the other thing is at 16 months, they're just starting to talk. If they're an advanced child, they're already talking, maybe putting some sentences together. So the mother doesn't even really realize her impact on the child. It's not going to hit her to the child's 4 or 5 and like really putting words together that like, holy shit, I haven't been in my child's life because look at how she's talking to me, or look at how they treat me, or they're going to my mom and not to me when I get home or something like that. When she sees that stuff, that's what's going to really hurt her. At 16 months, it's really hard to see that because it's such a baby still. But
I don't
when
know.
that baby grows and starts making
But
decisions, yeah.
I can send like I'm so in tune with my daughter. Like even though I work a lot from home, my daughter is I am like 10 seconds, not even maybe 5 seconds away from her. So I just if I hear her, I just go out and go get her, or just so close to her all the time. And even when she was at daycare, I was always on campus all the time. I'm just always close to her. So when there was differences, like with her, I would know and I would sit and I would talk to her. We always would talk it out. Like I don't know. I'm just very in tune with my baby, and I don't know. I'm also a lot older than people too, so like than some of these younger moms. So when we decided to have kids, we waited and we did things as best as we could. But I hope that this family, I hope that they do the family time like you said. I hope they get together. I hope that I hope this girl actually appreciates that she has a stepdad that's stepping up and is acting as a positive role model for her. Because let me tell you, I wish I would have had that and I didn't. So shout out to this man for being a man.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm gonna get in some super chats. We got a couple of super chats here. Sketch therapy. I know you gotta go. Thank you, my brother. You always hold me down. I appreciate you. Chat says, shout out to Alan Peg Bundy, Hotep to my extended family, no doubt. That's exactly where I got the thing from. I was just like, we have a relationship show. What's it gonna call? And I was like, Love and Marriage. That song comes to my head, and I was like, fuck it, that's what
That's
it
my
is.
grandma's favorite. Well, she passed away, but was her favorite song. I want to say it's Dean Martin, "Love and Marriage."
I learned how to be a man. Actually, I shouldn't say learn. I learned how to be a man from my dad, but I learned how to deal with women from Al Bundy. Al Bundy was a saving grace in my life. Think about Al Bundy, right? And I've said this before, I don't know where, but have you ever seen Al Bundy get mad?
No, he just vibes.
He just vibes. Like no matter what's going on around him, he's like, whatever. You need some money? Fine, fuck it, take it. What's your problem? What are you arguing about? Yeah, whatever. Like that is masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
Where your environment can never affect you. Then he goes into his cave and he talks to like his imaginary friend and whatnot, right? The little stuffed animal and shit. I forget the stuffed animal's name. If you guys remember it, put it in the chat, jog my memory. Um, but like that is the epitome of being a man. It's like you cannot allow your woman, your environment to get to you, even after a long day's work of selling women's shoes. And then you come home and then you find your solace in the basement, right? Like that's part of being a man, like getting away for a second, knowing, all right, I need my space right now, right? Like for me, it's like I plug the headphones in, jam out to some jazz and play the PlayStation, right? For like an hour, every 2 weeks or something like that. But we got to know when we need our own space and we need to take it. And I just felt like, he's just like, it's just genius, man. Like, just, he never got upset. You never seen Al Bundy. Natasha Kayleen said, $5 super chat. Thank you.
Yeah.
Alf. Yeah, remember Alf? Alf was the shit. Was Alf in the basement? I
What's
want to say
I
he
don't
was.
know.
She said Wendy is Peg.
I am Peg Bundy. Oh my god, I used to wear leopard stuff when I was younger.
I think Alf guest appeared on the show one time, but I don't think Alf was definitely not on the show, but I do think he made a guest appearance on that show because it was on the same network, I believe. But the imaginary friend Alf was not named Alf. But Alf,
Um,
definitely Alf like. Do you remember Alf? You don't remember
yes,
Alf.
I do. I'm old.
Oh wow, you remember Alf? Alf was the shit.
Yeah, I remember Alf. He was the brown little fuzzy guy, right, with like the big nose and whatever. I remember Alf.
Ah, there it is, Raider, Mr. Floppy. That's what it was, Mr. Floppy. Thank you.
All right, I got what before we go because we're coming up on the hour. I want to
Yeah.
read you. I want to get your feedback on this tweet. I pulled some tweets because I think that they're interesting to talk off of. So I want to pull this. So some girl she posted this. I forget who it is, but she said this is from her guy. I guess the guy said, again, not trying to be mean, but I work out damn near every day and I work so hard at my job literally to keep the physical attraction there for you and to be impressive for you when you know or find out who you're dating and you don't give AF to do that for me and just expect me to be head over heels for you. You can lie and say whatever, but if I was 200 pounds and had a shitty job, you wouldn't be with me. So, and then the girl said, so you're saying that's me, that I'm fat and have a shitty job and unattractive? He says, and you can't do it, you haven't, you want me to be crazy attracted to you, then work out then. If you can't do it now, you won't in 10 years from now. I've been telling you to make you feel about it, simple as that, and not trying to be mean, but there's no sense of trying to protect your feelings anymore because this shit is out of control. I don't care
Mhm.
about boobs, fake butt, fillers, blah blah blah. I just want and am attracted to fit girls, plain and simple. I can't help it if that's just what my genetics or brain make up.
I got this one. And I got some bad advice too. Some good ass bad advice. You ready?
Let's do it.
Cheat on that bitch with a fit girl. Cheat on that girl with a fit girl, right? You might even have to stage it, right? Like have somebody send you some fake text messages and just like get caught with like a fit girl sending you like some booty pics, right? Nothing drives a woman to the gym like being cheated on. She is going to sprint to the gym after she catches you with another woman. And because she's out of shape, she can't get another man. So she's fucked anyway. You, sir, you're in the gym. You're the catch. You have the sexual market value, as Rollo Tomasi would put it. So that's my good bad advice: is to cheat on that bitch
So
with a fit girl.
this is the thing. I don't think you should cheat on her. I don't think you should make her jealous. I think if you're not happy, just leave. Just leave. Just leave. There's no point. Like why playing the games? Because like you said, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I have made it a point to work out, to take care of my body. When I knew I was going to get pregnant, I started working out extra hard because I said I'm not going to be that fat bitch after I have the baby. So I made it a point, and I've always kept my weight between 102 to 108 after I lost the baby stuff because I had to lose like 20 pounds because you got the stomach and the water. Da, 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 da. So I always made it a point to be between 102 and 108, always in shape. I have the same clothes. I don't have to buy new, bigger clothes, nothing. So let me tell you something, men. If your girl is starting to get a little bit chunky and she don't care about her body and you haven't wifed up or you guys don't live together, leave. The reason being is because she's comfortable with you and she's going to continue eating like a fat slob. And then you're going to keep falling for her and guys are going to get comfortable. You guys are going to get married. She's going to pop out the kids and you're going to be with this fat bitch and you're going to be miserable and you're going to be mad and you're going to end up cheating. So leave.
Now that's some great advice.
I mean, because listen, like if you're having issues now and she's not taking care of herself, because I think, and listen, it goes both ways. It goes for the guy and it goes for the girl. You should both take care of yourself because if you take care of yourself, that means you respect your partner. I take care of myself. I want to look good because at the end of the day, that shows my man that I care for him too, because he could walk around with me looking like whatever, and it's just respectful to him because if I was like this big fat slob, he would just be like, I don't know. I'm
You
not.
could so a halfway point between cheating and what you said is get caught looking at hot girls on your phone, like fit girls on your phone. You know what I
On the
mean? Like
TikTok, because the TikTok's got a lot of things there.
Do they? Okay, I don't have TikTok, so I don't know.
You got to get on the
Um,
TikTok because I think that
I
your
don't,
little short
I don't.
videos would do well. But get on the TikTok and get. But
No,
to be honest with
no,
you, this just seems
nope.
this
I
seems
can't do Chinese spyware.
this seems too much. This seems too much for me. To be honest, I would be like, I'm gone. I would find somebody else that was interested in that type of stuff. I mean, maybe this girl,
Yeah,
I mean, maybe she's really special and whatever, but if you're feeling like she don't take care of herself now, imagine until after you have kids, because let me tell you, after you have kids as a woman, your body starts declining a little bit at a time. It doesn't get easier to whatever. So that's all that I'm saying. Unless you're fine with that, because some men are happy with that and that they don't mind. But at the end of the day, if you want a certain type of woman and you're just dating and she ain't giving it to you, or you don't think she's gonna be that woman, leave.
I like that. I like that. I really do.
Do we got time for one more?
Yep.
Let's do one more. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. Because I just pulled tweets, so I'm gonna. Ooh, this one's a good one. It's my friend that said it, and then people got mad at me.
Okay. Uh-oh.
I love pissing these people off. They're so stupid. So my buddy, Altcoin Psycho, he said, text her at 11:11 so she thinks you're a sign from the universe. And I said, laugh my ass off. This is a goat move because on TikTok, everybody's like, oh my God, the universe and the 111 and the 333. I think that's a goat move because a lot of girls are like into this, this
Spiritual,
spiritual stuff. So
astrological,
they're gonna be
yeah.
like, "Oh my God, Daddy is like it's a sign from like Jesus or whatever." So I think that's an alpha move right there.
Yeah. Also on full and new moons.
Okay,
That idea, I've actually tweeted that idea like many years ago. It's
okay.
floating somewhere, it went viral many years ago. But yes, full moons, new moons, especially full moons, because all these women follow the moon cycle. All these astrological spiritual chicks, they know when it's a full moon. Um, the ends of retrogrades, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the day of retrograde ends, like hit her up. But yeah, that 11:11 trick. Oh yeah, that'll work.
That's a good one, right?
Oh yeah, that's excellent. Especially if you know she's like all into that stuff. Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was good. Like people are like, no, that's not a goat move, da, da, da. But I'm thinking to myself, all the people that are commenting, y'all are incels anyways. You don't have girlfriends, so.
Yeah, yeah, they're never around women, so they wouldn't understand women.
All right. So we
I
got
have a
anything
lot of
else?
no. That's it, man. Tomorrow I'm on with Uncle Hotep. Hotep's been told you, 8 p.m. right here. Friday I'll be talking to Erica Lachey. That's going to be an amazing, amazing conversation. She's an opinionated black woman who's young and isn't beat for the whole I hate Trump thing, right? And she's not like grifting the Trump either, right? And she's been challenging a lot of the ideas of what is being purported by black liberals. So that's going to be I think it's one of the most exciting conversations I'm going to have this year. So that'll be happening Friday, 7 p.m. right here.
That's
But you,
exciting. I'll probably try to tune into some of that one because I
oh,
like
you're going to
free,
love that
I
one.
I like free thinkers. I like people that are able to say, "Well, I believe this and that," and explain why. Like today, he tweeted that thing about Goodyear or whatever the hell. And I was like, I forgot what he said, but he said basically like because you're not allowed to wear Magna hats or whatever it was. So he's like, don't support Goodyear when they're a tire manufacturer. So I was like, good, don't like if they're going to be censoring and just picking one side, support small business. And people are like, you're an idiot, you don't understand economics, like that's a corporation that's going to take jobs from people. So then like a couple hours later I had some time, so I pulled up a list of tire manufacturers in the United States, and some of them were a lot smaller than Goodyear or whatever company was, and they were like, everybody shut up. But it's like, because I understand I've worked for a corporation, and it's like, why? And it wasn't, I don't even care that it was Trump that said it, but it's like, you can't tell your employees to not wear one side, but then you have to tell them to not wear the other side. You shouldn't censor them. That makes people uncomfortable. Like
Oh yeah.
either have a strict policy, no politics involved, or don't say nothing at all.
Yeah, yeah, yep. We'll be talking about that on the show tomorrow
All
night.
right. All
I'll be
right.
writing
Well,
up some
thank you
jokes for
for a
that.
great conversation. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, settlers, and share this. And if anybody you guys have questions, please feel free to drop me a line. We can answer it next show for you. And yeah, we'll see you guys next Wednesday at 9:30 ET.
Yes, sir.
All right. Good night, guys. Have a good evening.